Well, we're still on Highway 90 in Conway with Joe Thomas, and we just got done talking about his turkey calls that he has certainly made and are beautiful, but I'm fascinated with the farm here. It's beautiful here, and you have quite a history. How far back does your family go out here on Highway 90?
Well, I'm gonna say it goes way back in the 18th. My granddaddy was come here in about middle of 1800s, but now it goes back. My grandmama was a Parker, and it was all Parker land before Thomas. And the Wade Hampton Parker was granted this land from the King of England back in the 1700s. And then my grandmama's daddy had thousands of acres here, and when all their children, he gave every one of them 1,000 acres of land along here. And there was about 10 of them. So, and then grandmama, she had 1,000 acres here, the woods and a little bit of farming. Daddy used to tell me about how they'd farm the cotton and stuff around here. The tobacco wasn't much then, cotton was the big thing. There was 10 people, 10 boys and girls in my daddy's family, and granddaddy give them give them a 100-acre farm, granddaddy did, and lined up on Regis Ferry Road, all the boys, and give every one of them, and put the oldest one down at the further end, and then as they older, put them all the way back to where my daddy was the youngest one, just like I am the youngest of the Thomas family. So they was all lined up with the boys over there, and the girls, he'd give them farms over here off of old Highway 90, the dirt road back then. And so, but then when we died, my daddy died, he left a will with Mama a lifetime right to it, and Mama had a lifetime right. She could do anything she wanted to, but she couldn't sell the land. So that's what happened. When Mama passed away in 87, I believe it was, we took the farm and cut it up. Had a survey and made 9 equal parts and divided it up like that, and draw a number out of an ashtray, which farm we got, which piece of land we got. So that's where I got number 1 out here at the highway.
Right here with this beautiful corner. Yeah. Joe, tell me this. Your family back in 1800, they grew cotton, but what about your dad? And then how about you? Have you farmed the land?
Yeah, Daddy we grew tobacco. When I was a little boy, we used to had to set out tobacco with a hand setter. And my job was had a Louisiana coffee can with a little small, about a gallon size, but I was about 6 years old, and I would tote that water and pour it in that hand setter for my brother to set out tobacco. That was my job, to tote the water to the hand setter. And we grew tobacco and corn and peanuts, but we didn't gather the peanuts. The peanuts was planted to feed the hogs on, for the livestock, and the corn was to feed the mules on. So, but we had a good life, and then after I got out of school, I decided I'd like to farm. I went out to Oklahoma, went out there and worked about 2 months, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the being out homesick, so I called Mama and told her I was coming home. And so I come back and I farmed. I started farming on the place here. And then in '63, I'd farmed tobacco that year and had good tobacco, but that's all we had, the tobacco in. So after I sold my tobacco and paid off my debts, the people to help me, I had to borrow the money together, the tobacco, and pay off the fertilizer bills. And I got through it, I had $1,000 left.
Not
I'd
enough
worked the
money.
whole year for $1,000, you might say. And I said, this ain't no life for Joe. So I called up the employment office, and they got me a job working at a glass company there now. And I worked there until 1980 and decided I want to go on my own.
Atlantic Glass was born as a result of not making enough money in tobacco. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now tell me when you found out that your property here was former Indian burial ground.
Well, it goes way back. I want to say back in the early 50s when my brother plowed up an Indian pot. But after that, we didn't put much attention to it. And I used to plow corn right here where this building is at. And when I'd be looking down to keep the tractor from covering up the corn, the plows, I'd see the arrowheads laying on top of the ground. I'd stop the tractor and pick them up and lay them in the thing. And I've collected a lot of them over the years like that. And then this lady at the college found out that about a hill out here where I'd found a lot of, my brother told her about it, about a lot of arrowhead. So she came out with the college and the students, and they dug these trenches about, I'm gonna say at least more than waist deep. Some of them looked like they were shoulder deep, because I jumped down in them and look at them, and you could see trenches, I believe they were probably 20 feet long, and you could see the fossils laying in the ground where the Indians had been buried, bones and stuff. And they got some large bones, and they got a skull she carried off. The trenches stayed here a good many years, and then we cut the farm up, we covered them all up here. And I had built my house, but not on that hill. Now where we're sitting at now, we're sitting on the hill where the Indian burial ground was at.
You've traced your roots back to Native American history yourself.
Yeah.
I think you said what your great grandmother was Native American.
My daddy's grandmother, because she was named Mariah, and Daddy used to tell me she smoked a corncob pipe.
So when people drive down Highway 90, they see Joe's place outside. Just know that it's not just a farm, it's not just Atlantic glass. They don't just have turkey calls here, but sometimes on Saturday night, the place is jiving. Tell us why, Joe.
Well, we have a lot of good time parties here with karaoke, and I got some friends that comes over and plays music, and I just love music, and I got a lot of friends of mine that plays it, and we just have a good time.
And I heard you were quite the comedian too, that you could imitate Ray Stevens and some of his songs like nobody's business.
Well, I don't know. I've been accused of that. I don't know where I am not.
I've had a great time with Joe Thomas. It was really happenstance that we ran into each other on New Year's Eve, but he's now my new friend. I want you to stop by and visit him sometime, especially if you're interested in a turkey call, the Boss Hen. Thank you so much, Joe.
You're quite welcome.
Invite me out one night when you're cooking some of that delicious turkey, okay?
I will.
You got it, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you.